I want attacking, purposeful football all the time. Now we're going to have backs against the wall and we're going to fight, and we're going to fight hard. You've got to show me all the guts and all the determination you've got in your body. You've got to inspire me.
A marvellous kick. That's as good as you'll ever see. And Footscray back in front.
I don't know about you guys, but if I see one bloke walking out of here, give the pat on the back from people out there for a good effort, I'll spew up.
From inside the centre square, Boydie kicked the goal. Boydie kicked the goal from inside the centre.
Hey Pack, welcome to Danny Boyd. It's a podcast about that team that is definitely going to make finals. No doubt about it. I've got the rose-tinted blindfold on. That is the Footscray Football Club, Proprietary Limited. They trade as Western Bulldogs. I'm Danny McGinley. Tom Boyd is with me.
Yeah, I'm here. Oh, I think we're all actually the best team in the competition, maybe the second best, if you just based on the last 7 days.
Mate, if that was round one, we're second on the ladder.
No, but except for round 0.
Oh, God.
That's the dumbest thing ever.
That's got to go.
I'll tell you what, get rid of it. It's just
What's dumber, round 0 or playing not only the showdown, but the Swans-Giants game against the same time as us?
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense.
There were Bombers fans next to me who by halfway through the first quarter were watching the Swans and the Giants.
Yeah, I will say that based on one, I was at the AFLW watching our doggies girls dominate.
Well, our doggies girls, come on, let's not lie to the listeners. You are not a Bulldogs fan.
I think they're still our doggies girls because I'm a Bulldogs Life member. But at the same time, I was watching my sister hoping she'd win and get a kick.
For Kangaroos, how'd she go?
Her first quarter is really good. And then let me say she got Wittonised by the sideways rain and wind, and it was probably about 6 degrees. It was horrendous.
Now, did they let you into the grandstand, like into the fancy rooms, or were you out with the...
No, most people actually... So, one, I hadn't actually sat out in the outdoor. It's really nice. Like, as in the stand, the new stand they built is fantastic, but It's obviously not a huge amount of cover.
No.
So we actually ended up, most people, like, and when I say hiding, I mean hiding in Barker's Cafe, being like, this is too much. It was freezing.
How many people are there? I mean, a pre-season game when the men's seniors are playing, the old enemy.
Yeah, a few hundred.
That's pretty good.
100. I mean, obviously, like, I think what happens with the AFLW in particular, and even in the VFLW, having watched tests, there's obviously a lot of families who go to watch, their daughter or sister, like I did, obviously. But I will say, from a overall standard point of view, particularly the first quarter, before the wind really took off and destroyed the game, some really impressive plays for both teams. And a lot of those really good just footy moments, like hitting a little bit late after play and squaring someone up and trying to hurt it. Like it was all happening out there, which was good. So our girls looked pretty good, and I think North are missing a few, but certainly didn't play as well.
Yeah, hang on. I've been distracted by it being your sister. We knocked off the reigning premiers.
That's right.
That's exciting.
And I think from all accounts, North are only missing a few. So I think it's a very good start. And I know that, and I spoke to young Tobias McLean, actually, who was obviously coaching. I will say, didn't do a lot of coaching from outside, Toby. I tell you, he spent a lot of time in the heated box. I asked him to go down and coach from the sidelines. Didn't like that very much. But he was saying they'd had a couple of crucial injuries through the midfield as well.
North or the Dogs?
No, the Dogs had. So,
right.
I think really good signs. But to your point, I'm not sure I got super enthused by the thought of playing Essendon at the moment.
Oh, you didn't want to pop over and just see us.
Yeah.
Well, you didn't grow up a Dogs fan. You didn't. Pretty much from the time you've been a Dogs fan, so 2014 onwards, we've lost to them once, maybe twice,
maybe.
So
we only really played them once a year too.
Yeah,
for some reason.
Well, we played them twice this year.
Yeah,
and always the first one's the EJ Whitten Cup, but I think we've retained that for. Well, no, they won it last year, but yeah, look, man. You look at the score worm. That is a very steady trend.
Yeah,
it's like Peter Dutton's approval rating. That's just a downhill 45-degree angle going to us. I mean, okay, let's.
The worm knew where it was going. Let's say that knew what it was going for.
The worm had a magnet on its head, and it went downstairs. 7 goals to. Well, who got 7? Was it Norton or Darcy?
Norton kicked 7.
Yeah, and, Norton 7, Darcy 2.
6. Yeah.
When was the last? I don't remember any time in my life that, like, what a bag now used to be kick a bag. That's like 8 or 9.
Yeah.
A bag now is 3 or 4.
Yeah, 4 probably, 4 or 5.
Yeah, 4 onwards, bag. 2 bags. I don't remember 2 bags in a game.
It's pretty good. It's pretty good. And look, I think, really interestingly, like if you consider the year that was and how much hype has been around Sam Darcy, obviously he missed, 4 or 5 games basically through the middle of the year.
Oh, more, yeah.
Not a heap more though, maybe 6.
He came back round 14.
As well.
And he was, I'd say 10. Was it round 4? It was Easter Sunday. That's just how I remember
there was definitely the bye as well in there. And anyway, my point being is that Norton's obviously the leading goal kicker by a fair margin now, if I'm not mistaken, when I looked at the...
Yeah.
Which, you go, well, Naughty got beat up for the first 5 weeks of the year, at least by the fans, right?
Yes.
At least.
Oh, yes.
And then as always is the case, Norton was going to become a backman again. And now he's kicked, 45, 50 goals for the year? Something like that.
Yep.
Hell of a season. For a backman, in particular. I will say this, though. The scheduling has been insane, like this year. It just seems like there's some horrendous games on. But having said that, my sister and her partner came over on Sunday afternoon and to watch that Saints game. That was just an insane game of footy.
So, as a Dogs fan, anytime the Demons lose, it's fantastic. However, the Saints I'm still bitter about the 09 prelim, so I know exactly what the Demons fans had to endure from the Saints fans there. But man, I know this is a Bulldogs podcast, but let's all laugh at Melbourne. And for them to lose from a centre bounce. And just the way they dominated us in centre bounces for all of those horrible game.
That was literally the difference between the Asterix premiership and not. In all seriousness, they absolutely we had our one wood, which was McRae, Bont, Libba, and they were just better at that time.
Yeah. We're not talking about that.
I know, but that's what they're talking about. So to watch them, to your point, get absolutely. I don't know if is cakewalked. Is that a reference that makes sense? Cakewalked out of the middle 5 or 6 times in a row in 10 minutes was astonishing.
Yep.
And then I also thought it was fascinating that the way that Melbourne tried to combat that last play where they obviously called 666 as a violation. I haven't seen the footage of who it was that did it and where they were standing, but that's strange to me. But anyway,
who was it that ran off? The father-son guy. I block all Melbourne players because I just don't like...
Right. The father-son guy ran off and he was the one who gave the 666 because they weren't reset. Is that accurate?
Yeah, and then he ran to the wing and so Miller... Viney was...
Right.
Wanganeen was able to just run into space.
No, I know that part, but that's not... The 666 violation, the one that got them the free kick in the centre bounce, I don't know who was the one...
Well, Viney's the one who ran out of the middle.
He ran out of the middle, right.
Yeah.
But then what happened afterwards is they have the free kick, right? Then they have to reset the whole ground.
Yes.
And then the Viney thing happens, from my recollection, where Viney runs back and all of the Melbourne players go, we've got to get back.
And we got differing... I watched 360 and On the Couch on Monday, and 360 said that Gawn had to be on the mark, and then 360 completely contradicted that and said he didn't have to.
Yeah, right. Could have been anyone.
So we've not read the rule books.
Yeah,
recently.
well, it's never really happened, especially not in that moment. I think but to actually have the wherewithal to go, hey, leave that pocket open. And look, I would love to say this is like a game plan thing. Like, you watch Collingwood do that cowboy tackle that everyone was like raving about last week. That's a game plan thing. This is 2 players just going, let's just do this.
Yeah.
Right, because there's no way they plan for that. That's too detailed. The likelihood, don't get me wrong, we plan extensively, and Bevo does in particular.
What was the most specific game plan that you trained for that you never...
Well, the end of game scenarios are unbelievably important. So every single week you'll run through what the being up by a goal and down by a goal, or within that, for the last 2 minutes actually looks like, because the amount of times it happens throughout the year is actually quite significant. Even maybe it's not a goal, maybe it's a couple of goals. Like if we're trying to win the game versus trying to save the game, what is the actual way that we play footy? And it is drastically different. It's different, at least back then before they had the 666, where we set up on the ground, what types of players are set up where, what rotations we're looking to do, where we'll move the ball throughout in terms of the decision making. There's all sorts of things that come into the style that we play. And I'm 100% sure that every team is still doing that, but it's different obviously with the rule sets and that scenario.
In those dying seconds, when you're a goal up, a goal down, what's more important, the emotion or the tactics? This is a question I heard on AFL Roundtable this week, and I want to know your thoughts.
Well, I think for me, the emotions probably start 10 minutes to go for them. St Kilda rode the wave for 10 minutes, basically, right?
Yep.
And so it's not really a choice between one or the other. At the end of the day, the momentum that they built is the only reason they were in the game, and then the tactics that they had or the decisions that Wanganeen-Malera made in particular is what wins the game.
But what about like a close game that you were part of? Say, I don't know, the 2016 prelim. Mm-hmm. We go up by a point. We were a point with a few minutes to go, 5 points.
Yep.
When McRae kicks that goal, puts us 5 points up.
Yes.
What is it? What won us from then? Was it tactics or emotion?
It's just will, I'd say.
So that's emotion.
Sort of. I suppose I don't really think about it like that. I think, so maybe here's the emotion, right? Emotion playing. I actually think about it on the other side of the coin. The fact that all of the Melbourne players, right, instead of looking around and working out who was, say, in the middle of the ground and where they were going to kick the ball and run to in that last moment, the panic that they had to have to just sprint back towards goal when they weren't going to make it anyway, right? If he just kicked it long, they weren't going to get there anyway.
Yep.
They would have to wait for the drop of ball. There's 10 seconds to go. That panic and that mindless running, I would put as emotion that lost them the game, as opposed to the tactics and the calm that St Kilda had to go, this is how we're going to win. We're going to actually just make this play up. And I think that's, it depends on the type of game that you're talking about. But I think in that prelim, it was mostly just, let's just hang on, and a couple of big mistakes by Giants players, frankly. Okay. There was a Caniglio mark, which is basically a 25-metre kick inside at centre-half back where they had runners out on the open side, and he basically panicked, dropped a mark that he should have taken, and that basically saved the game for us.
We got to do another watch-along party of that. Those quarters again.
Just to review the
review.
Game to the nth of its.
That sounds fun.
I think it was actually good, though. You know what? It does sort of trick you into thinking the last weekend of footy was really good.
Yeah, it was pretty damn awful. So you only looked at the scores. It's really against the Bombers. It got to I was chatting with a mate. So one of my best mates has moved back to Melbourne. We're going to go to games now, and he's just had a kid. We were chatting, we were watching. But there was a lot of socialising as well. And another mate brought friends who we'd never met before, and I was getting to know them. They were two guys from Sydney. They've moved down here.
Bit of explaining going on.
I bought them scarves, just made them know that they were part of our pack and and everything. And so by the time I finally went, yeah, geez, we're doing well here. What's the score? We were up by 6 goals.
Yeah, I know. And that's honestly what I would have typically gone, especially if it was a close game, let's get home from this thing. I'll put the kid to bed and then I'll turn it on. But by the time I went to turn it on, it was 70 points, and I'm like, what's going on here? So I flicked it on for a bit, but I find myself more and more really craving, even if we dominate and play really well, I can watch it for a few quarters, watching us just absolutely knock the brakes off someone. But if the opposition's bad enough, it really doesn't get me excited about watching footy, unfortunately. The Richmond game, as I've said on here a couple of times, was one of the toughest watches I've had in my entire life.
Yeah, because you haven't lived through the pain of Richmond and being a Dogs fan. So I can just, when I see us smash an Essendon, I just think to all the times in the 90s where they absolutely dominated us, towed us up, and I had to deal with Essendon fans at school. Yeah. So I can enjoy it on that level. But what I really want to know is how the hell did we do anything different that makes us, that we can now use against the Giants and against better opponents?
Yeah.
And I'll tell you the terrible thing about the Giants game. With Kelly out and Toby Green out,
they've got a better chance to win. It freaks me out.
You reckon the Giants got a better chance to win?
It lulls me into a sense that we should win, and as soon as I feel like we should win, I go, we're not going to.
Oh no!
You know that roller coaster that you go through where you're like, I don't want to get ahead of myself and think it's all going to be too easy, because there's another guy who's done a calf as well, Buckley. Yeah. So there's pretty significant outs for their team, right?
Exactly. But and the terrible thing about that is, if we win, and God, whatever the opposite of God forbid is, God willing, we do. I still won't know if we're any good.
No.
So annoying.
Yeah. Well, and in particular, I think to your actual question about the Essendon game, the problem with playing against teams that are so much worse is you can learn bad things. Yeah. Right? And it sounds strange to people, right? But you take, some of the ways that we can get away with, say, small mistakes, or we can just out-muscle our opponents because they're young and inexperienced and not as talented, or we can move the ball and the half-backs start to take the piss and be able to just, take the game on with no, reckless abandonment because the consequences of making a mistake are zero. Like, all of those things, they can filter into the next week. And interestingly, we obviously went through the big, let's get our contested ball back up. We've been smashed around the contest against Adelaide in particular, and Ed was talking about, we need to get back to the hard footy and all that sort of shit. And then you go out and you practice it against Essendon, and you're like, I'm not sure if that's worked or not worked. So
would a good metaphor be when we're playing against Essendon, you're driving on an empty country road on your L's, using an automatic.
Yeah, in a car park.
In a car. Well, in a paddock.
Yeah.
There's nothing to hit. Whereas, this week against the Giants, we're suddenly in Burke, I was about to say Burke Street. There's no cars on that. You're on Elizabeth Street in peak hour and you got to get to the airport in 40 minutes.
Yeah, either that or you're just driving a different vehicle, right?
Yeah.
Like it's, one of them's
you borrowed your father-in-law's
one of
car.
them's a go-kart race and I
it's
think,
manual.
and I think the thing about the Giants is, and I actually referenced this in a gig I was doing recently, just how it's important to understand that my experience of the Giants is not what the Giants are today. Like, they just weren't a real club, genuinely, and not just because they were new, but because they were new and hadn't got the club bit at all down pat.
Yeah.
Whereas today you watch them play and you go, they've got like a soul and they care and they've got rivalries and it's like they're starting to feel like a club that's
To
actually...
their credit, people like Cornelio and Toby Green have built that.
Absolutely. Josh
Leon
Kelly,
Cameron.
same. Yep. And, all the other Bulldogs people who went up there. But yeah, they've actually turned it... And I wouldn't say that's the case up until at least very recently with the Gold Coast Suns, even though they've had a couple more years.
Yeah.
So the identity of the Suns has always been they're a new team.
And it's an airport.
Yeah,
Like, you go there.
Yeah, exactly. It's transient.
And then they go somewhere else.
Yeah, and they only go there for the last couple of years because they want to get a tan and,
Or
that's
the
about it.
first few years because they got drafted before they returned home, Isaac Rankin.
So I think my point being is, like, the other thing that the Giants have done is they travel pretty well because they've always been up against it. It's not like they've got a hometown advantage when they're in Sydney and there's 2,500 people there.
Yeah.
So I think this is going to be an amazing game.
You're going along.
I'm going.
To the Tom Boyd Cup.
Yeah.
Are you presenting it?
Well, who else would?
The Dylan Addison medal for best on ground.
The shovel medal, yeah. No, he's a great man.
That's exciting. How big do you reckon the crowd will be? In all honesty.
Thursday's tough.
Thursday night,
like,
just after school holidays.
I live next to Marvel Stadium. Yes. It's not far for me, and it's a big lift to the thought of and it's fine. Like, I've got a great wife who's happy to take the kid for the night. But if you live in, I don't know, Point Cook, it's a mission.
Yeah.
It's a midnight mission on a Thursday afternoon.
And by the way, I got friends who live in the West. The trains are down every second week. Coming on the Werribee line or the Williamstown line or the St Albans line, whatever it's called these days, whatever you're on, coming from West Footscray and beyond, it's replacement buses all the way. The two worst words in the English language, apart from Hawthorn Premiership. Replacement buses. No one wants that.
They don't. It's not a replacement. That's a crappy alternative.
Yeah.
But no, I'm very excited. I really am. I do not think it's going to be a big crowd, but I do think it should be a really good game.
But we just need to be loud.
Yeah.
You've explained this before, but explain it again because it's relevant for tomorrow. How different is it when we're loud?
Yeah, well, I think there's two things. One, having a crowd that's behind you, particularly after every goal and every big moment, and to give those players the opportunity to celebrate their goals and actually have someone to celebrate too, rather than running around like turkeys, like we used to do when there was no one there, right? Is huge for momentum. But the other thing is to remember that Marvel Stadium, more than any other stadium I've ever played in, I think obviously because of the roof, the sound disappears really quickly. So you can't just rely on this rolling murmuring that happens at the MCG where it's always got a bit of a hum about it. You've got to keep making noise all the time throughout the whole game.
Yep.
Otherwise, it'll go dead and half the momentum will disappear as well. And it feels like for most of us who played at Marvel as juniors, in some way, shape or form, it feels like we're back playing in the TAC Cup or whatever else. So, look, if you're going to bring your voice tomorrow night's the night. It's really the last chance if things don't go our way. So we might be talking about the off-season if we're not careful and we don't play our best footy tomorrow night.
Yeah, we may be talking to the AFLW coach. Very exciting. But we've only played GWS at Marvel. Where is it? It was Giggs was sending me the facts. We will be doing Giggs facts soon. We've only played the Giants at Marvel 6 times.
Well, I played one of them.
You did?
For sure.
Yep, and that was...
For the wrong team.
For the wrong team. You played for the Giants where they beat us. I think first time Giants beat us.
Yep, G's last game.
Set in motion that was the butterfly flapping its wings.
It was.
Yada, yada, yada. We win the flag.
That was literally... But it was also... That was literally the... that was when the rivalry was essentially born. Like, for all intents... Like, obviously, Cal leaving earlier... But
that wasn't vindictive.
And they also weren't...
us stuffing up.
And they also weren't any good then. So the fact that they beat us then, and then the next 2 years, they obviously improved greatly. Like, that's when it all...
So we've played them 4 times since then. The only time we've lost to them is 2017. That's the famous game where Toby Green ninja kicked Luke Dalehouse in the face. Destroyed our season. But we've beat them there in 2015. That was the first game since where Ryan Griffin was playing with them.
Yep.
2020 with no fans. And
2015. What round? Do you have? You don't have the round there, I imagine.
I don't have the round, but I still remember.
I
the
must
match.
have played that game, right?
Probably did.
2015, unless it was right at the end of the year or something.
No, it was early days, and I do remember I was being quite mean to Ryan Griffin.
I must have played. I think I played pretty much. I played every game basically up until like round 15 that year. So.
I wasn't calling him Ryan or anything. I just kept calling him 32.
Yeah.
Who are you, 32? Get in the game.
What's your brand?
That said, a friend of the show, Adam Cooney, put up a great thing on his Instagram.
Yeah, of all the boys catching up.
All the boys who live in Geelong.
Yeah.
And Ryan Griffin's down there. And I really want to get Ryan Griffin on because I think he's much maligned and I want to hear his side of the story.
From all accounts, he is a fantastic bloke.
Yeah.
And
so
he has
let's get him
on. I actually met up with, I don't know if I spoke about this, I actually met up with Jace McCartney the other day.
Oh, really?
The old list manager. And
he's at the Giants now, isn't he?
He is. He's head of football, basically. Okay. So he's doing really well. And look, I think a lot of the things that he was great at the Bulldogs for, he's unfortunately taken up there and done a really good job with, right?
Nuts.
And look, built an incredible list, right?
Yeah.
Like, in no small way, him and Simon Dalrymple's efforts to get us to a premiership are massively underrated, I'd say, because obviously they're not like in the forefront of your mind. The only way you get there is with good list management and good recruitment.
Dalrymple's someone we should get on. I once did a live show with him, and he talked about how much intel he had to do on Bont.
Yeah,
because he just didn't believe that he was this nice a kid.
Yeah, I remember you saying that. But my point being with Jace is that I think the getting of Ryan Griffin, which obviously didn't work out in their favour in the long run, but to get him as a person, I think he'd be a great guest because I think he was broadly mistreated and things weren't very good at it for him in the Bulldogs. And if you uncover the layers, I think it's pretty understandable that he left, to be honest.
Yeah. And we had Adam Cooney at the live show telling a story about mouthing off about how bad things were at the Brownlow and to President Peter Gordon. And then McCartney was, re-signed, I think, or just said, we're not sacking him. And Cooney was like, well, I guess I better find a new club.
Yeah. Well, and look, this is like the problem with footy is, well, it's not a problem. It's obviously the contrast that provides the lucky people like me, it sort of gives it perspective, which is 90% of players, things don't work out well.
Yeah.
And it's not that it didn't work out well for the whole time, but it doesn't work out well in the end because every player wants to play forever and every coach wants to win now and every list manager wants to win for the future. Mm-hmm. Everyone's got different priorities, which means almost always everyone's disappointed.
And that famously came to a head between Luke Beveridge and Chris Grant, and there was some reports this week, which we're going to discuss behind the paywall in a few minutes. But before that, here's Gigs Facts.
Gigs Facts. Danny asks the questions and Boydie reacts. So sit on back and relax. Put on your thinking cap because we're gonna do the Gigs Facts.
Gigs Facts, done by Andrew Gigach, who of course has written the official Bulldogs history book. He's a statistician, he's a historian, he's a weird unit, but he's a great friend of our show, and I can't wait to chat to him about the history book. He's sent through, ever since I got back from Japan, he's been sending through heaps of brilliant facts. I'll give you the one I'm going to ask you about though, Boydie, is Friday night win over Essendon means Essendon is now the outright leaders in the Bevo's Bunnies ladder.
Wow.
So that is, we have beaten Essendon by more than 10 goals 4 times versus Essendon. We have beaten 3 teams 3 times by more than 10 goals. What are those clubs in the Luke Beveridge era?
Gold Coast?
No, I've only beaten them once by 10 goals.
Interesting. In the Bevo era, North Melbourne?
Correct, that is one.
Definitely. West Coast?
Only beaten them twice by 10 goals.
Interesting. Trying to think some of the big wins we've had over the years. I remember Essendon. We beat Essendon a couple of times by a lot.
Yeah.
But that's sort of coming off the back of the doping saga. So it didn't exactly. It was a bit like what they are at the moment, half a team.
Yeah. And Cramery, let's not forget.
Who else?
We got screwed by that.
I didn't think we smashed Carlton many times.
No, we haven't.
We haven't smashed Freo many times.
Only twice?
I don't think we've smashed. I'm trying to think about the 2 Adelaide. Did we sure? Well, we must have been Adelaide a couple of times.
No, go the other way. Port.
Port, really?
We've beaten Port 3 times by 10 goals.
Yep.
So there's one more, and I reckon this one's pretty easy because this is a team that often has some downtime. We've talked about them a lot this episode.
Richmond.
St Kilda.
St Kilda. Have we beaten them 3 times with that? Because St Kilda was one of the first ones that popped in my head, but then I was like, they've also beaten us a few times.
Yeah.
So actually, the legend would be pretty even.
We just haven't had many close ones. Either we thump them or they thump us. I've got a great fact from Giggs about tomorrow night against the Giants. The Dogs, the Footscray Football Club, so we play on July 31st. We have not lost on a July 31st match for my entire life.
Wow.
42 years, almost 43.
That's just asking for us to lose. That's
Hey, don't. No, that's not how Geeks Facts works. That is a jinx-free zone. We're celebrating the statistical oddities. But Carlton beat us on July 31st, 1982 by 20 goals. But I was born 3 weeks later. So for my entire life,
there you go.
We've
Let's keep the trend going.
Yeah.
It's it can't be more important, to be honest.
And I meant to talk to you about this last week, just talking about our lifetimes. There is a theory, and there's no scientific evidence at all, my dear listeners, but Tom Boyd, the guy standing right there, my co-host, my pod brother, he was born on, it's August 21st? August 22nd, 1995, the same day that Ted Whitten had his state funeral. Now, there is some hippie some ideals that when it takes to the funeral for the soul to leave the body to then find its new host, and you are Ted Whitten reincarnated. Like, that's just... what time of day were you born?
I actually don't know. Maybe...
Let's say just after the funeral.
Yeah.
Stuck around, had a few beers.
I don't think it was in the middle of the day, if that's probably when the funeral...
The funeral was... Man, it was on Channel 7.
Yeah,
That's how big it was.
I remember. I remember.
You remember?
Which means I was born in the morning. No, we've looked it up before, but no, I don't know exactly. Maybe in the morning, but
your past life, you were the best bulldog of all time.
Well, it's
and
amazing.
now you're the 26th. Just missed out.
Is it when the person passes, or is
no? It's the funeral. That's the soul being.
I actually found it like someone actually told me that probably 10 years ago. Now I'm like, that's a pretty wild thing to think.
It is absolutely,
like, considering what ended up happening. You know.
Yeah.
Because
this one soul, your soul, is won us both flags for men's.
Twice. Yeah, that's all me. But no, what's your predictions for this week, mate? I'm just looking at the ladder and trying to work out. We have to win.
We have to win,
but it is still a bit of an uphill battle, even if we do.
Oh, totally. Yeah. I'm not.
Which I don't know when it all got away from us. It was all seeming so like
Adelaide game.
Yeah, but you know what I mean? It was all seeming like it's probably just going to happen, and we're
just waiting for this to click, and it ain't clicked, and now for the first time this year I'm feeling pangs of doubt, and I don't like it. I don't like it at all. I'll tell you the negative things. Giants have won 6 on the trot. Yeah.
And they also come off an absolute stellar win last week.
Yes.
After being down by, 36 points, 37 points.
Yeah. But they would have been fired up for the Swans, because of course the Swans beat them in the finals last year. And so I reckon there'll be a bit of a come down for this game. And by the way, I'm doing a gig with Toby Green Friday afternoon, East Doncaster Footy Club.
You're interviewing him, are you?
No. He's Mark Murphy's the host, the old Carlton player.
Yeah.
He's interviewing him, and then I'm doing stand-up afterwards at some restaurant. And Mick Gatto's going to be there, apparently.
Oh,
Anything? What do your listeners reckon I should say to Toby? I've got to be pleasant. You know, I can't go up to him and go, "Hey, what'd you do to Bont, you dickhead?" You know, I'm not going to do that.
No.
What do you?
No. I think, as I've said on this podcast before, I think if I was a pure supporter, I can absolutely see why people detest playing against Toby Green. Both like for the way his mannerisms are on field and also for the injuries he's inflicted with his feet in particular to multiple of our best players. I get it. Having said that, he has also been captain of that club for a while, which indicates something. And also, having been someone who's played with him, I would say he's greatly misunderstood as a person because his on-field antics are on the line. And I'll finally say that's what you get when you find a bloke who's playing on the edge, and that's why he's been so good for such a period of time. And I think we'd still be a bit confused if he was one of our team, like if he was one of our players and he'd done the kicking. You'd still be a bit like, oh, it's not great, is it?
What are you doing?
But having said that, we'd still go, we'll take him.
Yeah, absolutely. What about, so if I see him on Friday, let me ask you that you know him personally, would he find this funny? Because you can remember I made up stubby holders? You can still get them on my online store of all the...
No, I wouldn't give him the prelim.
Don't give him the prelim
No, I wouldn't do that.
Not even to hold for a
No,
photo?
I think, like, if I put myself in his shoes, he's 32, he would be. He's not playing as good a footy as what he was, definitely.
So it's just a bad memory. If they'd won 19, would he have done?
It wouldn't matter as much, but they didn't. And,
right.
I mean, the chances he wins a premiership are very low now.
Yep.
And that's about as big an insult to injury as you can get.
Yep, fair enough. I want to get him holding some sort of merch.
The thing about, like, also, there's some players, like, if Toby had played his career at Collingwood, like, his post-career life would be amazing.
Oh, he'd be locked in.
But
media, sporties. He'd be Dane Swan.
Yeah, but he's not. He plays for the Giants.
Yeah.
So he it's kind of like once footy's done, in my opinion.
Well, I reckon he'll be a good, decent coach or...
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like once his playing career done, it's not like he can just like ride the coattails of it forever. I'm sure he can do some stuff, don't get me wrong, but it's not like he's going to be able to just go off and do whatever he likes.
I wonder what... So, all right, if anyone's got any suggestions on what I can do, I want to get a photo with Toby. I
think you should, yeah.
Maybe I'll just get him kicking me in the face or...
Well, it actually will be interesting. Maybe if we win... Just try and be graceful. But if we lose...
If they lose, then I'm going to get him like having me in a chokehold.
Yeah. Look, I'm sure Tobes will be great.
Yeah. Anyway. So that's... so I reckon... you know me, I'm always chronic optimist. I reckon we will win. I reckon we will win convincingly. And I will have no idea if we're any good. And it will prolong this doubt. But I'd rather that than losing in nowhere, missing finals. So I reckon we'll do well. They haven't announced teams or anything, but just to reiterate what I said, Giants have won 6 on the trot. Their last 5 have been Gold Coast, West Coast, Geelong, Essendon, Sydney. Like they haven't beaten any amazing teams, but neither have we.
No, I think if we win close.
Okay,
I think it'll be tight, and I think it'll be really interesting to see if. How our nerves are towards the end of the game. Do you know what I mean? I just to see if we've still got the calmness that we need to actually get across the line, because I think it will be a very tight affair, and I think it'd still be a spirited affair. I don't think there's a lack of blokes with attitudes playing for the Giants, and I think that's probably a good thing for them, and we're going to need to find out whether the Libbers and everyone else of the world's going to have the attitude to meet them head to head.
All right, before we go behind the paywall, I'm just seeing the listener mail that we've got. This is from... this one's not even about what we are, but what was your first AFL game you ever went to? That's from Matt Dean.
I must have been... the earliest one I remember was the... Fighting Tiger fun game, which I must have been like 10 for or something. I'm sure I went to once before that. The reason I remember it was because we were sitting in the nosebleed section with friends of ours who were Richmond supporters, and we were Carlton, and it was Carlton v Richmond, and it was the day they were trying to eliminate the debt, raise $7 or $8 million or something, like over the course of that year, and Richmond did not turn up at all, and they lost by 140 points.
They were good times.
And it was one of the most like depressing things for Richmond ever, because you're like, so this was the day you want your supporters to chip in, and then you lose by 140 points.
To your arch rival.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. First one I ever went to was 1989 at Princes Park, Carlton v St Kilda. I still remember the scores were 144 to 143, and Kernahan kicked 10. Carlton won by a point.
Yeah, well.
It was footy was very different back then.
A good representation of some of the struggles to come.
Yeah. Do you reckon we should get Silvani in the off-season?
Sauce.
Tamlin. I don't know. No, I assume... is there two of them still at Carlton?
Silvani's?
Yeah.
Oh, right. Sorry, I get it.
No, Sosos, son of Serge, or Goss, or son of Joe.
I don't know where we would play, to be honest.
Well, apparently our defence is terrible. Do you not listen to SEN?
Yeah. Well, I don't know.
What do you say about
I'm going to be honest. Their list management decisions to come are going to be really tricky for us because we have so much of our money invested in such high end of our talent, where between Jamara, Norton, Bont, Darcy, who are English, we're going to have 40-50% of our salary cap tied up in all of those players.
Yeah.
Now, the salary cap's going to continue to grow, but having said that, it's a big chunk of money, right? And it means two things. One, it means that you have to get those guys to play good. Been in this position before personally, so I can talk on it. Because if you don't, it just ends up being really tricky to manage from all factors. And then number two, it makes it really hard to find those next big boulders of players that you pay 600, 700, 800. It used to be like the players who, when I played, were worth 400 to 500. Are now worth 700 or 800. And sort of that next bracket's jumped up. So it gets really tricky. And I feel like we need obviously some internal growth from some of our younger players to take a big step forward next year to sort of steal up the bottom 5 or 6 players.
Definitely play Bustling on Hogan. Did all right on him last time.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't like anyone inexperienced playing on Jesse, to be honest.
Not like any of our...
I don't like any inexperienced players playing on Jesse.
Chuck Liam Jones on him.
Yeah. Well, Liam probably won't be able to keep up with him, to be honest. I think you probably take a team approach, right? You probably get Lobby to play in front of him, give him a bit of a license to take some space and play Jonesy or something right on his back shoulder. But the thing about Jesse is he's so fit and he'll just run all night. So you've got to find a way to deal with that, which I don't think either of those boys are fit enough to keep up with him.
Yeah, it hasn't been fun watching Jesse since he went to the Giants. Oh, do you reckon Stringer will do anything?
Oh, interesting. Yeah, I hadn't thought about him.
Yeah.
I think he'll probably pop up for his 1 or 2.
Yeah? Yeah, against us.
Sure. He always pops up for 1 or 2.
Yeah.
He's looking in pretty good nick at the moment.
You still in contact?
I haven't been in contact.
The rumours of you two, of the massive falling out you had.
All false. Like, for those of you who heard the rumour of some locker issue, I'll take it into your consideration to think about how our locker room was shaped at the time and that it's a big open rectangle.
Yeah.
And how that was supposed to happen when...
he was supposed to have used it as a toilet.
Apparently, yeah.
Just because he was annoyed that you were paid so much or some rubbish.
Yeah.
How do you even do that?
It's not possible.
If he was doing number ones, then you could sort of sidle away. But we're talking, apparently, according to rumour. It's
also one of these things where, there is no way that person doesn't get caught doing that.
Yeah.
There's 45 guys in there. What's he doing coming in the middle of the night? And also, he just upset 3/4 of the team. He wouldn't upset... It wouldn't just be me. It'd be everyone else. We all share lockers next to each other.
Who did this? And then suddenly you bang on his locker and the Metamucil falls out. Oh, it was you!
It's one of the absolute dumbest things.
Is that the worst rumour you've heard about yourself?
It's the dumbest one I've ever heard because I've read multiple people on whatever forums or whatever I've that have popped up, and then they go...
They're adamant it happened.
Certain.
Yes.
And I'm like, and I've had people in person tell me that happened.
Yeah.
I'm like, guys, I'm 10 years removed or whatever it is. I'm 6 years removed from playing. Do you reckon I'd be keeping it a secret if it had happened? I've got no reason to protect Jack. None whatsoever. He doesn't even play at the club anymore. So, and he's not only that, he hasn't played at the club in 2 moves. Right? So what am I going to do? Pretend like it didn't happen? No, it didn't happen. It never happened. I don't even know how that rumour got started.
Yeah, neither do I. Do you know the weirdest rumour I ever heard about myself? And probably, I don't want to dispel it because the rumour makes me sound really cool, but a rumour went around the comedy industry for a while that I was like an ultimate survivalist where you know what Danny does? He'll go to the Grampians with just a knife and he'll survive there for 2 weeks. He can do that. He's got the training. And several people asked me about this, I was the Bear Grylls, who did stand up. And hell no, I don't even stay in a 2-star hotel.
No, I can't even camp.
No. So, but hey, please spread that rumour. Not the Jake Springer one. Spread my rumour. I'm happy to do it. We're going to talk about Bevo and a few more other questions from our Patreons. If you want to join us, it's only $5 a month. And there's some really good perks in there. Anyway, we're slipping behind the paywall. Go guys.
Gave my childhood to that roar of the red, white and blue sea, and the knowledge that you had two loves, the Bulldog boys and me. 20 years on, I feel that longing hanging in September air. But the reason I go every week is to pretend you're still there. And they will find the glory one day, and I will throw it at your feet. It's a long, long road they're running for you, the dogs of Footscray streets. Long, long road they're running for you, the dogs of Footscray streets.